incompetence, chaos, foolishness on the part of this administration everywhere you look. And everybody seems to understand this except the administration itself. Has there been one admission so far from anybody in this administration that they're at fault, that they missed a step, mistakes were made? Far from it, in fact. What you have instead is the administration that seems to want back pats and high fives. They unapologetically even take moments to highlight what a great job they've done, while at the same time admitting that they're at the complete and total mercy of the Taliban. So listen to Jen Psaki touting this evacuation as some sort of modern version of Dunkirk, right? This is going to be the achievement that's going to go down, guys. Watch this kittens and sunshine spin.
I would say that this is now on track, Peter, to be the largest airlift in U.S. history. And that is bringing American citizens out. It is bringing our Afghan partners out. It is bringing allies out. So no, I would not say that is anything but a success.
It's not, though. I mean, this withdrawal, it's a big success. In fact, it's the biggest airlift in history. Does that include the people hanging off the landing gear of the C-17? Does that? I mean, if she wants to say that it's the biggest airlift in history, fine. Oh, it's the biggest airlift in history if you ignore the actual Berlin airlift from Cold War and Israeli airlift and all the other airlifts that preceded this. If you ignore all of that, then yeah, this is it's right. It is the biggest airlift in the history of the world. Just like she could say she is the only female White House spokesperson to ever stand behind that podium. Of course, if you ignore all of the other female White House spokespeople. Yeah, the people falling from the sky, I don't think that they would say that that was a successful airlift. The administration having no idea how many Americans are trapped in Afghanistan, the Taliban in control, and then of course you have ISIS-K. It's like the special K of cornflakes or something, right? They come rolling into Kabul, and now apparently they're going to get into a fight with Taliban after they had already fought them in Jalalabad because ISIS-K, which is a variant of ISIS, had a bunch of people from the Taliban who defected because they were unhappy with that terrorist faction. I mean, can you get, there's not enough terrorism? You need to go to a worse group? Now, not to worry, according to Jen Psaki, it's actually time to start awarding the administration some smiley stickers, gold stars. You guys remember those Lisa Frank puffy stickers? Yeah, you do. Right? Maybe some of those. If this is what success looks like, if that's what success is, what does failure look like? Not favorite, because I can't really put there's not really a bright lining, a silver lining to this, but I do have to say, even Adam Schiff, who is one consonant away from the truth, Adam Schiff, who believes that Russians are hiding under his bed, Adam Schiff, who looks like a tweaked out, middle-aged Precious Moments figurine, Adam Schiff, he even knows that Jen Psaki has got to be hitting the crack rock the size of the state of Texas. Watch this.
Do you think that it's possible for the evacuations to finish up before August 31st?
I think it's possible, but I think it's very unlikely, given the number of Americans who still need to be evacuated, the number of SIVs, the number of others who are members of the Afghan press, civil society leaders, women leaders. It's hard for me to imagine all of that can be accomplished between now and the end of the month.
Now, they got him right as he was walking out of an intelligence briefing, so they heard the truth, and then he comes right out and the press meets him. And then he completely contradicted everything that Jen Psaki and everyone else had said about the kittens and sunshine, happy-go-lucky, big success spin. Yeah. Man, they are all over the place. It goes like this. Sure, it started poorly, but oh my gosh, look at how much progress we're making on this evacuation, thanks to all of our hard work. And it's time we started talking about the bang-up job that we're doing now, don't you think, legacy media? I mean, apparently that's kind of what the narrative is. That's the new push. Deputy Secretary of State Wendy Sherman, she's a company woman. She got that narrative pivot memo from the White House, and she has been tweeting more than a neglected baby sparrow, going on and on about what an incredible job the administration is doing. Here's some of those self-congratulatory tweets. She says, quote, "This morning, Undersecretary of State P and I convened the foreign ministers and political directors from 28 allies and partners to coordinate our efforts in Afghanistan. It's the fourth time that we've spoken as a group in a week." This is the work of diplomacy. Now, in this same tweet storm, she also said, quote, "No other nation, none, could have put together this global network of countries on 4 continents to host evacuees. When we say we're putting our alliances and partnerships front and center, this is why, in times of crisis, we have each other's backs, end quote. Sounds like an Insta slogan. Yes, Deputy Secretary of State Wendy Sherman, she's feeling great about this withdrawal. It's all running like a well-oiled machine. No other nation could do what you did, don't you know? So in other words, everybody should be very impressed. As you know, every so often the administration has to stick the president in front of the teleprompter and carefully script some words. Here's President Biden yesterday reading words.
We agreed that we will continue to our close cooperation to get people out as efficiently and safely as possible. We are currently on a pace to finish by August the 31st. The sooner we can finish, the better. Each day of operations brings added risk to our troops. But the completion by August 31st depends upon the Taliban continuing to cooperate and allow access to the airport for those who we're transporting out and no disruptions to our operations. In addition, I've asked the Pentagon and the State Department for contingency plans to adjust the timetable should that become necessary.
I believe in doing good public services, and I feel like one of those calls for good public service is to alert his team that he's either very sleepy or please, for the love of all things holy, increase his font size on the teleprompter because he's going to give himself a headache. It's all totally in control, guys. It's okay. Mistakes were made, some. It's okay. We just, we're gonna make that up, right? We're gonna get some help from the Taliban. We're good to go. Biden talks about the Taliban like they're the French government or something. I mean, just gonna go phone up the Taliban, meet in an Afghan cafe somewhere, have some kebabs, and work out this evacuation. So chill, we got this. Maybe I'll bring H-Man in, Hunter. Speaking of the French, last week even they could do what we couldn't. They coordinated with consular authorities and they used the French police and their special forces teams to get their people out. I mean, apparently they're not waiting around for the Taliban to feel philanthropic suddenly and help them out. And while the Biden administration seems to feel great about their efforts, G7 leaders don't. The Brits, they literally held him in contempt last week in Parliament. Wall Street Journal says he broke NATO. And the Germans, well, they're throwing in as well. Angela Merkel said this, and I quote, she says, quote, "I am thinking of the pain of families of soldiers who lost their lives fighting there. Now everything seems so hopeless," end quote. Gosh, it's like the gothist Germanist thing that you could possibly say. It's like even beyond emo. According to sources, and sidebar to that, who was it? Is it Washington Post, Democracy Dies in Darkness? They want that as a slogan now. Merkel said in a very sharp attack on Biden's administration that the hasty and messy withdrawal by the administration was motivated by domestic political reasons rather than geostrategic necessities. Duh. I mean, meanwhile, despite backpatting himself, the American public, they're not buying it. Due to this chaotic end to wrap up of this undeclared 20-year plus authorized use of military force in Afghanistan, Biden's overall job approval is actually in the sewage pit outside of the airport where everyone is standing in Kabul. In fact, it stands at 41% versus 55% who disapprove. That is staggering. It is, I think, the lowest of any administration at any point at this time. I don't think that you can say that this is a successful administration at this point. They're crashing and burning. No wonder they want to talk about the hurry up FDA approvals and COVID. Meanwhile, if bungling the Afghanistan withdrawal and handing the Taliban a victory weren't enough, Biden decided to hand another big win to China, guys, right? Yeah. Let's approve the license applications worth hundreds of millions of dollars for China's blacklisted telecom company, Huawei. That's right, the same CCP that gave the world a giant case of the bat flu. The same China whose state-run media is busy tweeting about how bad we've handled Afghanistan and how we won't help our allies like in Taiwan. Yeah, that China. Biden just overturned Trump's last-second executive order and will allow Huawei to buy chips for its growing auto component business. Right? So let's see. The Russians get a pipeline while we kill ours. He helps to destabilize NATO. Big gift to Putin. Iran gets to be back in our good graces. Afghanistan's handed over to the Taliban with thousands of our people trapped inside. And the Communist Chinese Party, who seem to both own us and hate us all at once, they get our semiconductors. Wow. Building back better? I think he meant everybody else. This is a weak, cowering, and feckless administration who's selling our country down the river as we're humiliated in spectacular fashion on the world stage. So why would anyone fear us, and why would any ally expect us to help them? They don't.